and a very warm welcome back to Hollybuzz, your place for everything related to movies and the world of cinema. We are absolutely delighted to have you with us today for another exciting movie discussion. In this video, we are going to take a closer look at Just Play Dead, one of the movies that has been attracting attention among movie enthusiasts. So, if you are a passionate movie lover who enjoys discovering new films, exploring upcoming releases, and staying connected with the latest developments from the entertainment industry, you are definitely in the right place. Here at Hollybuzz, our goal is to bring you interesting, engaging, and informative movie content in a simple yet exciting way. Throughout this video, we will take you on an interesting journey and discuss the movie from different perspectives, while keeping the information clear, engaging, and easy to follow. Whether you are already familiar with Just Play Dead or are hearing about it for the first time, we hope this video gives you a reason to stay with us until the end. So, sit back, relax, and get ready for another exciting movie discussion right here on Hollybuzz. And before we begin, make sure you subscribe to Hollybuzz and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our upcoming movie videos. Now, without wasting any more time, let's get started. What this video covers. In this video, we are going to take a detailed look at Just Play Dead and explore the key aspects that make this movie worth discussing. Our discussion will be structured in a clear and engaging way, so you can easily understand each important point without feeling overwhelmed by unnecessary information. We will gradually move through the major areas of the movie, focusing on the details that are most relevant to our discussion and giving each aspect the attention it deserves. The purpose of this video is not simply to provide a quick overview, but to give you a more complete understanding of the subject we are discussing. We will examine the important information carefully, highlight the details that deserve attention, and discuss the elements that may make this movie particularly interesting for audiences. Our aim is to provide meaningful information rather than simply repeating basic facts that you may already know. So, whether you are already following Just Play Dead or have only recently heard about it, this video is designed to give you a clear and informative discussion from beginning to end. We will keep the conversation focused, organized, and engaging while making sure that every important point is explained in a way that is easy to follow. So stay with us until the end, because we have a lot to cover in today's discussion. And if you enjoy detailed movie content, don't forget to subscribe to Hollybuzz and turn on the notification bell for more upcoming movie discussions, updates, and entertainment content. Movie overview. Just Play Dead is an upcoming 2026 crime thriller that brings together a compelling combination of suspense, deception, dark humor, and psychological tension. The movie immediately creates curiosity through its unusual premise, where the boundaries between a carefully planned scheme and a genuine life or death situation begin to disappear. Rather than presenting a straightforward crime story, the film appears to build its tension around characters whose intentions are not always what they seem. At the center of the movie is a dangerous situation involving wealth, deception, and a plan that is supposed to be completely under control. However, as the circumstances develop, the original plan becomes increasingly complicated, creating uncertainty about who can actually be trusted. This gives the movie a strong element of mystery because the audience is encouraged to question the motives of the characters and anticipate what could happen next. One of the most appealing aspects of Just Play Dead is the way it combines a serious criminal situation with an unpredictable and sometimes darkly entertaining tone. The movie is not simply dependent on action or violence to maintain the audience's attention. Instead, its appeal comes from the tension created by deception, manipulation, conflicting interests, and the possibility that one character may outsmart another. The movie also has an impressive creative foundation, with Martin Campbell serving as director and Samuel L. Jackson and Eva Green leading the cast. Their involvement gives the project an additional level of anticipation, particularly because both actors have experience portraying complex and intense characters. Overall, Just Play Dead can be described as a tense and unpredictable crime thriller built around deception and survival. It is the kind of movie where appearances can be misleading, and where a seemingly controlled situation can change dramatically at any moment. With its combination of suspense, mystery, dark humor, and strong performances, the film has the potential to offer audiences an entertaining and unpredictable cinematic experience. So, at its core, Just Play Dead is a movie about deception, danger, manipulation, and the consequences of believing that you are always in control. Just Play Dead primarily belongs to the crime thriller genre, but it also incorporates elements of dark comedy, suspense, and psychological drama. This combination gives the movie a distinctive tone because it is not designed to fit into a single, conventional category. Instead, it brings together tension, deception, danger, and moments of dark humor to create an unpredictable viewing experience. The crime thriller element is central to the movie because the narrative revolves around criminal schemes, deception, money, and potentially deadly consequences. The characters are placed in circumstances where their decisions can have serious consequences, creating a constant sense of uncertainty. This genre usually keeps the audience questioning what will happen next, and Just Play Dead appears to follow that tradition by building its story around complicated plans and conflicting interests. The movie also contains a strong suspense component. Suspense is created when the audience knows that something could go seriously wrong but does not know exactly when or how it will happen. In a story involving deception and hidden intentions, even a seemingly ordinary conversation or decision can become important. This keeps viewers engaged and encourages them to pay attention to small details. Another important element is dark comedy. Instead of maintaining a completely serious and gloomy atmosphere, the movie uses situations involving danger and deception in ways that can also be entertaining and unexpectedly humorous. This contrast between serious circumstances and darkly comic moments can make the film feel more distinctive. There is also a psychological dimension to the movie because the characters are not simply fighting through physical action. They are also attempting to manipulate, deceive, and outsmart one another. Trust becomes uncertain, motives become questionable, and the audience is encouraged to think about who is actually in control. Overall, Just Play Dead can best be described as a crime thriller with elements of dark comedy, suspense, and psychological drama. This mixture allows the film to offer more than straightforward action. It creates an atmosphere where danger, intelligence, manipulation, and unexpected humor can exist side by side, potentially making the movie an engaging and unpredictable experience for audiences. Runtime. The runtime of Just Play Dead is an important part of the movie's overall presentation because the length of a film can significantly influence its pacing, storytelling, and audience experience. For a crime thriller, runtime is particularly important because the movie needs enough time to establish its characters, develop the central conflict, create suspense, and gradually reveal important information without making the story feel unnecessarily stretched. Just Play Dead has a runtime of approximately 1 hour and 40 minutes, giving the film enough space to develop its storyline while maintaining a relatively fast and focused pace. A runtime of this length can work especially well for a thriller because it allows the filmmakers to keep the narrative moving and maintain tension without adding excessive subplots or unnecessary scenes. The relatively compact duration also means that audiences can expect the movie to remain focused on its central conflict. Instead of spending a large amount of time on lengthy background sequences, the film can concentrate on the situations, decisions, and developments that drive the story forward. This can be particularly effective in a suspense-driven movie, where maintaining momentum is essential. Another advantage of a runtime around this length is that it can create a more accessible theatrical experience. Viewers can enjoy a complete cinematic story without committing to an extremely long film, while the filmmakers still have sufficient time to establish the atmosphere and build suspense. So with a runtime of approximately 100 minutes, Just Play Dead appears to offer a relatively concise cinematic experience. The key challenge, however, will be whether the filmmakers can use those minutes effectively, developing the characters, maintaining suspense, and delivering a satisfying conclusion without making the story feel rushed. Ultimately, the runtime itself is not what determines whether a movie succeeds. What matters is how effectively every minute is used. For a crime thriller like Just Play Dead, a focused runtime can actually become an advantage if it keeps the story engaging, the pacing sharp, and the audience interested from beginning to end. Just Play Dead is scheduled to arrive in U.S. theaters on August 28, 2026, with a limited theatrical release. The movie will be distributed by Vertical Entertainment, giving audiences the opportunity to experience the crime thriller on the big screen before its digital release. For viewers who prefer watching movies at home, the film is scheduled to become available through video on demand on September 1st, 2026, just a few days after its theatrical debut. This gives audiences two different opportunities to watch the movie. First in selected cinemas and shortly afterward through digital platforms. The August 28 release date also places Just Play Dead among the notable movies arriving in theaters during the final days of August. Its limited theatrical rollout means that its initial cinema availability may vary depending on location, while the subsequent digital release is expected to make the movie accessible to a much broader audience. It is also worth mentioning that release dates can differ from one country to another. While August 28, 2026 is the confirmed U.S. theatrical release date, international release schedules may follow different dates depending on the distributor and territory. So, mark your calendar for August 28, 2026 if you want to watch Just Play Dead in selected theaters, or September 1st, 2026 if you are waiting for its digital release. Production company. Just Play Dead is a European co-production, bringing together several production companies from different countries. The principal production companies associated with the film include Headgear Films, Gemstone Films, and Atelier 11, with Mendips Film also listed among the production companies involved in the project. One of the key companies behind the production is Headgear Films, which spearheaded the European co-production. The film is produced by Phil Hunt, Valentin Dimitrov, Sagiv Diamant, and Moshe Diamant, with the production bringing together creative and financial support from several companies. Gemstone Films is another important production partner. The company is involved in film production and production services, and its official project information lists Just Play Dead among its projects. Highland Film Group is also closely associated with the movie, although its role is broader than simply being a production company. Highland Film Group co-financed the film and is handling its international sales and distribution rights, while CAA Media Finance is overseeing domestic rights. The collaboration between these companies is significant because Just Play Dead is an international production rather than a project created by a single studio. The film was produced across a European production network, with filming taking place in the Canary Islands, while different companies handled production, financing, sales, and distribution responsibilities. Overall, the production structure behind Just Play Dead reflects the increasingly international nature of modern filmmaking. With Headgear Films, Gemstone Films, Atelier 11, and other production partners contributing to the project, the movie represents a collaborative effort combining international financing, production expertise, and global distribution. The director of Just Play Dead is Martin Campbell, a highly experienced filmmaker who has built an impressive career across action, thriller, crime, and adventure cinema. Born in New Zealand, Campbell has been working in the film and television industry for several decades, developing a reputation for creating fast-paced stories, strong suspense, and intense action sequences. His experience behind the camera makes him a particularly interesting choice for a movie like Just Play Dead. Martin Campbell is perhaps best known for directing two major James Bond films, GoldenEye in 1995 and Casino Royale in 2006. GoldenEye introduced Pierce Brosnan as James Bond, while Casino Royale marked Daniel Craig's first appearance as the iconic British spy. Both films became important entries in the Bond franchise, and Campbell's work on them demonstrated his ability to combine sophisticated storytelling with suspense, action, and high-stakes situations. Beyond the Bond franchise, Campbell has also directed several other notable films, including The Mask of Zorro, The Legend of Zorro, Vertical Limit, The Foreigner, The Protégé, Memory, Dirty Angels, and Cleaner. His filmography shows that he has considerable experience working with stories involving danger, crime, revenge, deception, and characters placed under extreme pressure. What makes Campbell's involvement in Just Play Dead particularly interesting is the fact that the movie is built around suspense, manipulation, criminal schemes, and a battle of intelligence between its central characters. These are precisely the kinds of elements that can benefit from a director with extensive experience in the thriller and action genres. The official production information confirms Campbell as the director, with Dan Gordon serving as the screenwriter. With Just Play Dead, Martin Campbell brings his long experience in action and thriller filmmaking to a story that depends heavily on tension, unpredictability, and character-driven conflict. His previous work suggests that audiences can expect a film where suspense and dramatic pressure play an important role alongside the central story. Overall, Martin Campbell's involvement gives Just Play Dead an additional level of credibility and anticipation. After directing major productions such as GoldenEye and Casino Royale, he returns with another thriller that places its characters in a dangerous and highly unpredictable situation. For audiences familiar with his previous work, his name alone may be enough to raise expectations for the movie. Screenplay for Just Play Dead is written by Dan Gordon, an experienced American screenwriter whose career has covered crime, action, drama, and thriller projects. He is officially credited as the film's writer, while Martin Campbell serves as the director. Dan Gordon is known for writing stories that often place complicated characters in high-pressure situations. Some of his notable writing credits include The Hurricane, Murder in the First, Passenger 57, Wyatt Earp and Rambo, Last Blood. His previous work demonstrates his ability to create stories involving crime, conflict, danger, and characters facing difficult choices. For Just Play Dead, Gordon has created a screenplay built around deception, manipulation, betrayal, and a battle of wits. The central concept immediately creates dramatic tension. Jack Wolfe plans to fake his own death, collect a huge insurance payout, and frame his wife's lover. However, his wife Nora develops a completely different plan, turning the situation into a dangerous game in which both characters are attempting to outsmart each other. What makes the screenplay particularly interesting is that the conflict is not based simply on physical confrontation. The characters are constantly trying to anticipate one another's decisions. Every plan has the possibility of being exposed. Every relationship can become a weapon, and every character may have a hidden motive. This gives the screenplay a strong cat-and-mouse structure, where the audience is encouraged to question who is actually in control. Another important feature of Gordon's screenplay is its combination of crime, suspense, and dark humor. The story takes a potentially serious criminal situation and turns it into an unpredictable chain of schemes and counter-schemes. As the characters' plans begin to collide, the tension can shift quickly from calculated manipulation to complete chaos. The screenplay also gives the two central characters a particularly interesting dynamic. Jack and Nora are not simply working together or against each other. They are simultaneously connected by marriage, money, deception, and personal conflict. That relationship creates an additional psychological layer, because their battle is not only about survival or financial gain, it is also about control and trust. Overall, Dan Gordon's screenplay provides Just Play Dead with its central identity, a twisted crime thriller driven by deception, psychological manipulation, and competing plans. Combined with Martin Campbell's direction, the screenplay has the foundation for a tense and unpredictable movie in which the audience is constantly left wondering who will make the next move and who will ultimately outsmart everyone else. That the production of Just Play Dead brings together a team of experienced producers from the international film industry. The principal producers are Phil Hunt, Valentin Dimitrov, Sagiv Diamant, Moshe Diamant, and Gabby White-Hart. These filmmakers played an important role in bringing the project from its initial concept to a completed feature film. Phil Hunt is one of the key producers behind the project and spearheaded the European co-production. Through Headgear Films, he has been involved in a wide range of international film projects and brings considerable experience in developing and financing independent and commercially oriented productions. Valentin Dimitrov and Sagiv Diamant are also principal producers on the film, representing the production side associated with Gemstone Films. Their involvement reflects the international nature of the project, which combines production resources and filmmaking expertise from different countries. Moshe Diamant, another principal producer, is also an experienced film producer with credits across action and thriller productions. Gabby White-Hart is another important member of the producing team. Interestingly, she is also credited as the film's casting director, meaning her contribution extends beyond production into assembling the performers for the movie. The film also has a substantial group of executive producers, including Ariane Fraser and Delphine Perrier, who are associated with Highland Film Group. Highland Film Group also co-financed Just Play Dead and is handling its international sales and rights, while CAA Media Finance is overseeing domestic rights. What makes the production structure particularly interesting is its international collaboration. Just Play Dead is not simply the product of one traditional Hollywood studio. Instead, it has been developed through a network of production and financing companies, including Headgear Films, Gemstone Films, Highland Film Group, Atelier 11, and other partners. Production was completed in the Canary Islands, adding another international dimension to the project. Overall, the producers of Just Play Dead have brought together an experienced, creative and financial team to support a crime thriller led by Samuel. While Jackson and Eva Green, their combined involvement has helped shape the film into an international production with a strong professional foundation, while allowing the filmmakers to bring Martin Campbell's direction and Dan Gordon's screenplay to the screen. Why was this movie made? Just Play Dead appears to have been made with the intention of creating a smart, unpredictable, and character-driven thriller rather than a conventional action movie. At the heart of the project is a deliberately twisted idea. A criminal mastermind decides to fake his own death for a massive insurance payout, only to discover that his wife has a completely different plan. She wants to make his fake death real and take the fortune for herself. This basic concept gives the filmmakers an opportunity to explore deception, betrayal, manipulation, greed, and the dangerous consequences of believing that you are always one step ahead. One of the main reasons for making a film like this is to create a battle of intelligence between its central characters. Instead of relying entirely on explosions or conventional superhero-style action, the movie is built around schemes and counter-schemes. Jack has a plan, Nora has another plan, and as those plans collide, the audience is left wondering who is actually controlling the situation. This gives the story a strong cat-and-mouse quality and allows suspense to develop through the characters' decisions rather than simply through physical action. The filmmakers also wanted to create something that could move between thriller, crime, dark comedy, and drama. Director Martin Campbell has described his attraction to stories that can combine different genres while keeping audiences uncertain about what will happen next. The project's earlier development also emphasized its unpredictable and unconventional nature. Another important reason behind the movie is its opportunity to bring together Samuel L. Jackson and Eva Green in a story where both actors can play morally complicated characters. Green specifically said that she had wanted to do another comedy for some time and that she fell in love with the script and the idea of working with Jackson again. She also described Nora as Jack's equal, intelligent, ruthless, and highly manipulative. So the purpose behind Just Play Dead is not simply to tell another story about criminals and money. The film is designed to put its characters into an increasingly complicated situation and then watch their relationships, loyalties, and strategies collapse under pressure. It asks an entertaining question. What happens when two intelligent and manipulative people both believe they are the one in control? Ultimately, Just Play Dead was made to deliver a twisted game of deception and survival, combining suspense with dark humor and strong character conflict. Rather than giving audiences a predictable crime story, the filmmakers appear to be aiming for a movie in which every character has an agenda. Every plan can go wrong and nobody can be completely trusted. That unpredictability is arguably the central reason this particular story was brought to the screen. For this topic, there is a particularly interesting point. The movie itself is based on Dan Gordon's earlier novel, Just Play Dead, published in 1997, so rather than claiming that the film was inspired by some unrelated real-life event, we can discuss the literary inspiration behind the story. The novel already featured the same basic premise involving Jack, Nora, Chad, the fake death, and the insurance money. Inspiration behind the movie. One of the most interesting things about Just Play Dead is that the story did not originate as a completely new movie idea. The screenplay comes from Dan Gordon, and the story has its roots in his earlier novel, also titled Just Play Dead, which was published in 1997. That means the movie represents a cinematic adaptation of an idea that Gordon developed decades before the 26 film. The original novel already contained the central ingredients that make the movie so intriguing. A wealthy criminal husband, a wife with her own hidden agenda, an insurance fortune, a planned fake death, and a dangerous attempt to manipulate another man into taking the blame. The inspiration behind the story is particularly interesting because it revolves around a very simple but powerful question. What happens when two people who both think they are extremely intelligent try to deceive each other at the same time? Instead of creating a conventional crime story where there is one criminal and one investigator, Dan Gordon constructed a situation in which almost everyone has something to hide. Jack wants to control the situation by faking his own death, while Nora sees an opportunity to turn his plan against him. This creates a natural foundation for suspense because the audience is constantly encouraged to wonder who is actually several steps ahead. Another major source of the story's appeal is the combination of crime and human relationships. At first, the central conflict appears to be about money and survival, but underneath that conflict is a deeply complicated relationship between husband and wife. Their personal relationship becomes part of the criminal strategy, making trust almost impossible. The story therefore explores how greed, betrayal, attraction, and manipulation can completely change the way people behave when a huge financial reward is involved. The original novel also introduced the character of Dani Kahana, a police officer in Hawaii, and placed the story in a distinctive setting. The published synopsis describes Nora becoming involved with Chad, while Jack is planning to fake his murder and collect the insurance money. Those same fundamental elements have carried over into the movie adaptation, although the film has been developed for a modern cinematic audience. What makes the adaptation particularly fascinating is that the story has remained relevant despite being conceived almost 30 years ago. The basic human motivations at its center, money, jealousy, ambition, deception, and the desire to outsmart someone else, have not really changed. That gives the filmmakers an opportunity to take an older crime concept and present it through a contemporary thriller format. Dan Gordon's long experience as a screenwriter also makes this adaptation significant. His previous writing credits include films such as Passenger 57, The Hurricane Wyatt Earp, and Rambo: Last Blood. With Just Play Dead, he is returning to a story that he himself created, giving the movie a direct connection to his earlier literary work. So the real inspiration behind Just Play Dead is not simply the idea of a fake death. It is the much broader fascination with deception and psychological manipulation, the idea that when money, marriage, and survival collide, even the people closest to one another can become enemies. That foundation gives the movie its distinctive identity and explains why the story can work as both a crime thriller and a darkly entertaining battle of wits. The development of Just Play Dead began as an ambitious international thriller project built around a distinctive story of deception, betrayal, and competing plans. The project was written by Dan Gordon and eventually attracted the attention of filmmaker Martin Campbell, whose experience in crime, action, and thriller filmmaking made him a strong fit for the material. The project was developed as a European co-production, with Headgear Films spearheading the production alongside Gemstone Films and other international partners. The project was publicly introduced to the international film market in May 2025, when it was announced that Samuel L. Jackson, Eva Green, and María Pedraza would star, with Martin Campbell directing and Dan Gordon writing the screenplay. At that stage, Highland Film Group was involved as a co-financier and international sales representative, while CAA Media Finance was handling domestic rights. The production was planned to take place in the Canary Islands, establishing the film as an international production from the beginning. The casting of Samuel L. Jackson and Eva Green became one of the major attractions of the project. Their involvement gave the film considerable star power, but it also suited the story because the central conflict depends heavily on two intelligent and manipulative characters attempting to outwit one another. Green had previously worked with Martin Campbell on Casino Royale, which created an additional creative connection between the actress and director. Principal photography began in May 2025 in the Canary Islands, according to production reports. The location was an important part of the film's production design because the story takes place in a tropical environment, allowing the filmmakers to create a setting that contrasts with the increasingly dark and dangerous events taking place within the story. Production continued through 2025, with filming ultimately completed in the autumn of that year. As production progressed, additional cast members joined the project. Eoin Macken and Jason Fernández were among the performers announced toward the completion of filming, expanding the ensemble around Jackson, Green, and María Pedraza. By late 2025, the movie had moved beyond principal photography and into the post-production stage. Post-production continued into 2026, with the filmmaking team working on editing, sound, music, and the final presentation of the thriller. In April 2026, it was announced that composer Robert Folk had been brought in to provide the film's musical score, adding another important element to the movie's atmosphere and suspense. Once the film was completed, Highland Film Group began presenting it to international buyers. In May 2026, the company announced a series of international distribution agreements covering numerous territories, demonstrating that the project had moved from development and production into its worldwide distribution phase. Highland also confirmed that production had been completed in the Canary Islands and that the completed film was being presented to buyers at Cannes. Overall, the production history of Just Play Dead reflects the collaborative nature of modern international filmmaking, from Dan Gordon's screenplay and Martin Campbell's direction to the involvement of Headgear Films, Gemstone Films, Highland Film Group, and an international cast and crew. The project developed from a carefully constructed thriller concept into a completed feature film. The production's journey from its 2025 announcement and Canary Islands shoot to its 2026 post-production, international sales, and theatrical rollout demonstrates how a modern independent thriller can be developed through cooperation between filmmakers, production companies, financiers, and distributors across several countries. Filming locations. The filming of Just Play Dead took place primarily in Gran Canaria, one of the most visually distinctive islands in Spain's Canary Islands. Principal photography was carried out on the island during 2025, with production taking advantage of Gran Canaria's diverse landscapes and cinematic surroundings. The island is known for its combination of dramatic coastlines, rugged terrain, beaches, and distinctive architecture, giving filmmakers a wide range of environments within a relatively compact area. One of the specifically reported filming areas was Galdar, a municipality in the northwestern part of Gran Canaria. Local authorities confirmed that scenes from Just Play Dead, starring Samuel L. Jackson, were filmed in Sardina de Galdar during September and October 2025. This makes Galdar one of the identifiable real-world locations connected to the production. The production's use of Gran Canaria was not accidental. The Canary Islands have become an increasingly attractive destination for international filmmakers because of their varied natural scenery, experienced local crews, production infrastructure, and financial incentives available to qualifying productions. Gran Canaria can provide filmmakers with coastal, urban, mountainous, and desert-like environments without requiring extensive travel between distant countries or regions. Another interesting aspect is that the film was produced as an international European production with local production support, helping the filmmakers carry out the shoot in the Canary Islands. Mendips Canarias was involved in providing local production services, connecting the international filmmaking team with the island's production, infrastructure, and crew. According to available production location records, the principal location is listed as Gran Canaria, Canary Islands, Spain, while reports indicate that filming took place during the autumn of 2025. The combination of the island's natural scenery and its established film production infrastructure made it a suitable environment for Martin Campbell's thriller. So when you watch Just Play Dead, the Canary Islands are not simply a background setting. Gran Canaria plays an important visual role in the production, providing the landscapes and locations in which the filmmakers created the world of the movie. The decision to shoot there also highlights how the Canary Islands have developed into an important destination for major international film productions. One of the most interesting behind-the-scenes facts about Just Play Dead is that the movie was filmed in Gran Canaria, in the Canary Islands, with production taking place during 2025. Available production records list. Filming from September through October 2025, while industry reports confirm that the Canary Islands were chosen as the main production location. The production also benefited from the Canary Islands' growing reputation as an international filmmaking destination. The region offers diverse landscapes, established production infrastructure, experienced local crews, and attractive filming incentives, making it possible for international productions to create visually different environments without moving between multiple countries. Just Play Dead was one of the international productions filmed on Gran Canaria during this period. Another fascinating detail is that Samuel L. Jackson and Eva Green were reunited on screen for the second time. Their previous collaboration was Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children in 2016. Almost a decade later, they came together again for Just Play Dead, this time playing characters involved in a much darker and more complicated relationship. Eva Green has also spoken about how she became involved with the project. According to an interview, she initially thought the message she received about a film with Samuel L. Jackson and Eva Green might actually be spam. After discovering that the project was genuine, she read the screenplay and became interested in taking the role. She described filming in the Canary Islands as a spectacular experience. Another behind-the-scenes detail concerns María Pedraza, who joined Jackson and Green as one of the film's major cast members. Pedraza later described working on the film in the Canary Islands as a spectacular experience, and she explained that receiving the project was initially unexpected for her. She read the script after being contacted about the film and immediately became interested in the opportunity to work with such an established international cast and director. The production also had a substantial local crew behind the scenes. Production records credit specialists in cinematography, sound, stunts, special effects, costume, makeup, transportation, and location management. This reflects the scale of the production, despite Just Play Dead being an international thriller rather than a giant studio blockbuster. There was also an interesting visual contrast, deliberately associated with the production. Eva Green, famous for her darker appearance and atmosphere in projects such as Casino Royale and Penny Dreadful, was presented in Just Play Dead against the bright, sun-soaked environment of the Canary Islands. The production itself was described as a sun-drenched thriller, creating a striking contrast between the beautiful surroundings and the dark subject matter of the story. So behind the scenes, Just Play Dead is much more than a simple Hollywood production. It combines an international cast, an experienced British director, a European production team, and a Spanish filming location. From Samuel L. Jackson and Eva Green, reuniting after almost a decade, to María Pedraza making another major move into English-language cinema. The production has several interesting stories of its own, and perhaps the most fascinating detail is that the movie's beautiful surroundings contrast sharply with its dark story. Behind the bright skies and tropical landscapes is a thriller built around deception, betrayal, and danger, and which makes the visual identity of Just Play Dead particularly intriguing. The official trailer for Just Play Dead immediately establishes the movie as a dark, stylish, and unpredictable thriller, and within less than 2 minutes, it gives us a clear idea of the dangerous game that is about to unfold. The trailer begins by introducing Jack Wolfe, played by Samuel L. Jackson, as a wealthy criminal mastermind who has found himself in serious trouble with the authorities. His solution is both clever and extreme. If the law is closing in on him, he can simply become a dead man. Jack decides to fake his own death and collect a $30 million insurance payout, turning his supposed death into the perfect escape plan. But the trailer quickly reveals that Jack's biggest problem may not actually be the federal authorities. It may be his own wife. Nora Wolfe, played by Eva Green, appears to be part of Jack's plan at first, but it soon becomes clear that she has completely different intentions. Rather than helping Jack fake his death, Nora sees an opportunity to make his death real, take the insurance money, and finally escape his control. This is where the trailer changes the entire dynamic of the story. What initially looks like a criminal couple working together suddenly becomes a dangerous battle between two people who are secretly working against each other. The trailer then introduces Chad, Nora's lover, who becomes an important part of her plan. Nora attempts to manipulate him into becoming involved in Jack's supposed murder. However, the more the trailer reveals, the clearer it becomes that Chad may be walking directly into a trap. Jack is not as easy to deceive as Nora may believe, and he begins constructing his own counterplan. This creates the classic cat-and-mouse structure of the movie, where every character is trying to predict the next move of the others. Another interesting feature of the trailer is its tone. The movie takes place against bright tropical surroundings, but the atmosphere is anything but peaceful. Beautiful locations, luxury, money, and glamorous characters are placed alongside murder, betrayal, manipulation, and criminal schemes. This contrast gives Just Play Dead a distinctive visual identity. Instead of presenting itself as a completely dark and gloomy crime movie, the trailer combines an almost luxurious visual atmosphere with increasingly dangerous circumstances. The trailer also gives us a glimpse of the chemistry between Samuel L. Jackson and Eva Green. Their performances appear to be central to the movie because the tension does not come only from external threats. Much of it comes from the relationship between Jack and Nora themselves. They are husband and wife, but they are also competitors. manipulators, and potential enemies. That makes their conversations and interactions particularly important because even a seemingly ordinary exchange can contain a hidden motive. Perhaps the most intriguing element of the trailer is that it does not present Jack as someone who simply makes a plan and watches everything go according to schedule. Instead, it suggests that once Nora begins changing the rules, Jack responds with a plan of his own. As lies begin to unravel and evidence starts disappearing, the situation becomes increasingly chaotic. The official synopsis even teases an explosive yacht showdown, suggesting that the psychological battle eventually develops into a much more physical confrontation. Overall, the trailer sells Just Play Dead on one central idea: nobody can be trusted, and nobody is guaranteed to stay one step ahead. Jack wants to outsmart the authorities. Nora wants to outsmart Jack. Chad becomes trapped between them, and the audience is left wondering who will ultimately control the situation. That combination of deception, dark humor, suspense, and high-stakes betrayal is what makes the trailer particularly intriguing. So, based on the trailer, Just Play Dead looks less like a straightforward crime movie and more like a twisted game of strategy, manipulation, and survival. The biggest question is not simply who will die, but who will be smart enough to make sure that everyone else does first. Trailer views and public response. Since the Just Play Dead trailer was released only recently, it is still too early to describe its performance as a massive viral success based on verified view counts. The trailer has nevertheless generated noticeable attention online, particularly because it brings together Samuel L. Jackson and Eva Green in a dark crime thriller directed by Martin Campbell. Recent coverage of the trailer has highlighted the unusual premise and the chemistry between the two lead actors. One of the clearest signs of public interest can be seen in online movie communities. Discussion surrounding the film has attracted significant engagement, with the official poster discussion on Reddit receiving more than 800 upvotes, while hundreds of additional reactions focused on the casting, the premise, and the visual presentation of the movie. The response, however, has been mixed rather than universally positive. Some viewers appear genuinely interested in watching the movie because of Samuel L. Jackson and Eva Green, while others have questioned the film's premise, the poster design, or its overall appearance. There are also comments from people who describe the movie as potentially entertaining precisely because it looks like a smaller-scale, unconventional thriller rather than a huge Hollywood blockbuster. The casting seems to be one of the strongest points of curiosity. Samuel L. Jackson remains an extremely recognizable actor, while Eva Green has a strong following among audiences who enjoy dark, stylish, and psychologically complicated roles. The fact that the two actors are appearing together again has also generated discussion, especially because they previously worked together in Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. Another factor helping the trailer attract attention is Martin Campbell. His reputation as the director of GoldenEye and Casino Royale immediately gives the project a recognizable name behind the camera. That does not guarantee a successful movie, but it gives audiences another reason to be curious about the project. Overall, the early public response can best be described as curious, divided, and highly discussion-driven. There is clear interest in seeing Samuel L. Jackson and Eva Green in this unusual cat-and-mouse thriller, but some viewers remain skeptical about the movie's quality and presentation. Since the trailer is still very new, its audience response could change significantly as more people watch it, share it, and discuss the film closer to its release. So, rather than saying that Just Play Dead has already become a huge viral phenomenon, it would be more accurate to say that the trailer has successfully generated conversation and curiosity, while the audience remains divided about whether the movie will ultimately deliver the tense and entertaining thriller that its premise promises. Main cast introduction. Just Play Dead brings together a strong and internationally recognized ensemble cast, led by Samuel L. Jackson and Eva Green. The combination of these two performers is one of the major attractions of the movie, particularly because both actors have considerable experience portraying complex, intense, and morally complicated characters. The main cast also includes Eoin Macken, María Pedraza, and Jason Fernández, each contributing to the film's central web of relationships and deception. At the center of the cast is Samuel L. Jackson, who plays Jack Wolfe, a wealthy criminal mastermind whose intelligence and confidence make him a formidable character. Jackson is one of the most recognizable actors in contemporary cinema, with a career spanning action films, crime thrillers, dramas, and major blockbuster franchises. His presence gives the movie considerable star power and makes Jack one of the most anticipated characters in the story. Opposite him is Eva Green, who plays Nora Wolfe, Jack's wife. Green is particularly well known for portraying mysterious, powerful, and psychologically complex characters, making her a natural fit for a role that requires intelligence, manipulation, and emotional intensity. The film also reunites Green with Martin Campbell, following their previous collaboration on Casino Royale. Interestingly, Just Play Dead also marks another screen collaboration between Green and Jackson after Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. Eoin Macken is another important member of the cast. Playing Danny, Macken has worked across film and television and brings another layer to the movie's ensemble. His character becomes part of the wider network surrounding the central conflict, adding another perspective to the increasingly complicated situation. The cast also features María Pedraza, who plays Bianca. Pedraza is internationally recognized for her work in Spanish productions, particularly Money Heist and Elite. Her involvement adds another internationally familiar face to the project and further reflects the movie's European production background. Jason Fernández plays Chad, a character who becomes particularly important to the central conflict. Chad is connected to Nora and becomes caught up in the dangerous plans surrounding Jack. His position within the story makes him an important part of the movie's tension because he finds himself surrounded by people whose intentions are not necessarily what they appear to be. The supporting cast includes Lee Boardman as Miguel, Nicole Ansari Cox as Sister Rachel, Nicola Parvanov as Vasquez, Dardash as Mr. Brody, and Eduardo Aladro as Martinez, along with several other performers. Together, they create a broader ensemble around the film's central characters. Overall, the cast of Just Play Dead is one of the film's strongest attractions, with Samuel L. Jackson and Eva Green leading the movie, supported by performers such as María Pedraza, Eoin Macken, and Jason Fernández. The film combines established international stars with younger and internationally recognized talent. This gives Just Play Dead a diverse cast capable of bringing the movie's complicated relationships, deception, and suspense to life. Beyond the two leading stars, Just Play Dead features a diverse supporting cast that helps expand the movie's world and strengthen its central conflict. These supporting performers are important because a thriller built around deception and manipulation needs more than just two main characters. The surrounding characters provide additional relationships, loyalties, suspicions, and complications that can make the central story increasingly unpredictable. One of the notable supporting performers is Lee Boardman, who plays Miguel. Boardman has an extensive career across British film and television, and his presence adds another experienced performer to the ensemble. His character forms part of the wider world surrounding the central conflict and contributes to the movie's network of characters. Another member of the supporting cast is Nicole Ansari Cox, who plays Sister Rachel. Her character adds another dimension to the ensemble, demonstrating that the film's world extends beyond the central relationship between Jack and Nora. Ansari Cox is known for her work in television and film, including appearances in productions such as Succession. Nicola Parvanov appears as Vasquez, while Dardash plays Mr. Brody. Both performers are part of the supporting ensemble that surrounds the main characters and helps build the wider circumstances in which the story develops. The supporting cast also includes Eduardo Aladro as Martinez, adding another character to the increasingly complicated network surrounding the central storyline. The full cast credits also list Boris Saavedra as Workman, Cesar Martel as the Sheikh, Geoffroy Lickel as Tesler, Carlos Pano as the Judge, Paulo Rivera as Castro, Salvador Esparza as Colonel Hernandez, and David Juarez as Detective Fuentes. What makes the supporting cast particularly important in a movie like Just Play Dead is that these characters can help create the feeling that Jack and Nora are never operating in complete isolation. Their decisions affect other people, and those people can potentially become witnesses, accomplices, obstacles, or unexpected complications. In a story where almost everyone has something to hide, even a relatively small supporting role can become important to the progression of the narrative. The ensemble also reflects the international character of the production. The cast includes performers from different backgrounds, fitting the film's British, Spanish, and Bulgarian production connections. This gives Just Play Dead a broader international identity rather than making it feel like a conventional single-country production. Overall, while Samuel L. Jackson and Eva Green remain the central attractions, The supporting cast provides the additional characters needed to make the movie's world feel larger and more complicated. From Miguel and Sister Rachel to Vasquez, Mr. Brody, Martinez, and the other credited characters, the supporting performers help create the environment in which the movie's deception, suspense, and escalating conflict can unfold. Before appearing in Just Play Dead, the movie's principal cast members had already established themselves through a number of highly recognizable films and television projects. Their previous work is one of the reasons this new thriller has attracted attention, because audiences are not only interested in the story itself, but also in seeing familiar performers take on new roles. Starting with Samuel L. Jackson, he is undoubtedly the most internationally recognizable name in the cast. His career includes some of the most influential and commercially successful movies of modern cinema. He became particularly famous for his role as Jules Winfield in Pulp Fiction, a performance that became one of the defining roles of his career. He is also widely known for playing Nick Fury in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, appearing across films such as The Avengers, Captain America, The Winter Soldier, Avengers, Endgame, and other Marvel productions. His other notable movies include Kingsman, The Secret Service, Django Unchained, Jurassic Park, Die Hard with a Vengeance, and The Hateful Eight. His extensive experience in action and crime films makes him a natural fit for the intense world of Just Play Dead. Then we have Eva Green, who has built a reputation for playing mysterious, sophisticated, and psychologically complex characters. International audiences first became widely familiar with her through Casino Royale, where she portrayed Vesper Lynd opposite Daniel Craig's James Bond. She later appeared in films such as Tyranny: Rise of an Empire, Dark Shadows, Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children, Dumbo, The Three Musketeers, D'Artagnan, and The Three Musketeers Milady. Her television work, particularly Penny Dreadful, also established her as a performer, capable of handling darker and more demanding roles. María Pedraza brings a different kind of international recognition to the project. She became widely known through the Spanish television phenomenon Money Heist, where she played Alison Parker. She also gained a substantial international following through Elite, one of Netflix's most popular Spanish-language series. Her other work includes Toy Boy, The Summer We Live, and Through My Window. Her involvement in Just Play Dead further demonstrates her transition into internationally produced English-language projects. Before appearing in Just Play Dead, the movie's principal cast members had already established themselves through a number of highly recognizable films and television projects. Their previous work is one of the reasons this new thriller has attracted attention, because audiences are not only interested in the story itself, but also in seeing familiar performers take on new roles. Starting with Samuel L. Jackson, he is undoubtedly the most internationally recognizable name in the cast. His career includes some of the most influential and commercially successful movies of modern cinema. He became particularly famous for his role as Jules Winfield in Pulp Fiction, a performance that became one of the defining roles of his career. He is also widely known for playing Nick Fury in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, appearing across films such as The Avengers, Captain America, The Winter Soldier, Avengers, Endgame, and other Marvel productions. His other notable movies include Kingsman, The Secret Service, Django Unchained, Jurassic Park, Die Hard with a Vengeance, and The Hateful Eight. His extensive experience in action and crime films makes him a natural fit for the intense world of Just Play Dead. Then we have Eva Green, who has built a reputation for playing mysterious, sophisticated, and psychologically complex characters. International audiences first became widely familiar with her through Casino Royale, where she portrayed Vesper Lynd opposite Daniel Craig's James Bond. She later appeared in films such as Tyranny: Rise of an Empire, Dark Shadows, Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children, Dumbo, The Three Musketeers, D'Artagnan, and The Three Musketeers Milady. Her television work, particularly Penny Dreadful, also established her as a performer, capable of handling darker and more demanding roles. María Pedraza brings a different kind of international recognition to the project. She became widely known through the Spanish television phenomenon Money Heist, where she played Alison Parker. She also gained a substantial international following through Elite, one of Netflix's most popular Spanish-language series. Her other work includes Toy Boy, The Summer We Live, and Through My Window. Her involvement in Just Play Dead further demonstrates her transition into internationally produced English language projects Eoin Macken, another important member of the cast, has appeared in both film and television. He is particularly recognizable for his role in Resident Evil, the final chapter, part of the long-running Resident Evil franchise. He has also appeared in television projects such as The Night Shift and Night Flyers, giving him experience across different genres and formats. Jason Fernández, who plays Chad in Just Play Dead, is known for his work in Spanish productions, including Welcome to Eden. His involvement adds another, internationally, experienced performer to the cast and continues the movie's connection with Spanish-language cinema. What makes this cast particularly interesting is the combination of Hollywood, veterans, and internationally recognized younger performers. Samuel L. Jackson brings decades of experience in major blockbusters and acclaimed films. Eva Green brings her distinctive presence from major international productions, while María Pedraza, Eoin Macken, and Jason Fernández contribute experience from successful television and film projects. So, Just Play Dead is not simply introducing a completely unknown group of actors. It brings together performers whose previous work has already earned them recognition across Hollywood, European cinema, and international streaming platforms. That combination gives the movie an interesting balance between established star power and newer, international talent, and it will be fascinating to see how these performers use that experience in this new crime. Thriller, hidden details, and Easter eggs. When it comes to hidden details and Easter eggs, Just Play Dead is still a little different from an established franchise because the film has only just begun its promotional campaign. There are no large collections of officially confirmed Easter eggs yet. However, the trailer and promotional material already contain several interesting details that viewers can pay attention to. One of the most interesting details is the title itself, Just Play Dead. The title is directly connected to the central deception of the story. Jack Wolfe's entire strategy depends on pretending to be dead so that he can escape the authorities and collect a $30 million insurance payout. But the title becomes even more ironic because Nora does not simply want Jack to pretend to be dead, she wants him to actually die. So the phrase Just Play Dead carries a double meaning that reflects the movie's central game of deception. Another detail worth noticing is the repeated idea of who is controlling whom. Jack believes he is several steps ahead because he creates the original fake death scheme. However, Nora secretly develops her own plan and attempts to turn Jack's scheme against him. The trailer, therefore, presents the characters almost like players in a complicated chess match, with every character trying to anticipate another person's next move. There is also an interesting connection between Samuel L. Jackson and Eva Green that viewers may recognize. Just Play Dead reunites the two actors after their previous collaboration in 2016's Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. Their reunion is particularly interesting because they now appear as a married couple whose relationship is dominated by deception and betrayal. Another subtle detail is the contrast between the movie's beautiful tropical environment and its dark subject matter. The film was shot in Gran Canaria, and its promotional material emphasizes bright skies, beaches, luxury, and the ocean. Against that beautiful setting, the story involves murder, insurance fraud, betrayal, and manipulation. That contrast appears to be an intentional part of the film's visual identity. The burning yacht is another image worth paying attention to. The official synopsis specifically describes an explosive yacht showdown, and the promotional poster also features a burning boat. This means the image is not simply random artwork. It connects directly to one of the film's major dramatic set pieces. It may also symbolize how Jack and Nora's carefully controlled plans eventually descend into chaos. Finally, there is an interesting meta-level connection involving director Martin Campbell. Campbell previously directed Eva Green in Casino Royale, while Samuel L. Jackson also worked with Campbell on The Protégé. So Just Play Dead brings together a director and two actors who already have professional connections with him. That makes the project an interesting reunion of established creative relationships rather than a completely new combination of talent. Overall, the most interesting Easter eggs currently available are less about secret cameos or hidden franchise references and more about symbolism, previous collaborations, visual clues, and the double meaning behind the title. As more footage, interviews, and eventually the complete film become available, audiences may discover additional details that were deliberately placed throughout the movie, hidden details and Easter eggs. When it comes to hidden details and Easter eggs, Just Play Dead is still a little different from an established franchise because the film has only just begun its promotional campaign. There are no large collections of officially confirmed Easter eggs yet. However, the trailer and promotional material already contain several interesting details that viewers can pay attention to. One of the most interesting details is the title itself, Just Play Dead. The title is directly connected to the central deception of the story. Jack Wolfe's entire strategy depends on pretending to be dead so that he can escape the authorities and collect a $30 million insurance payout. But the title becomes even more ironic because Nora does not simply want Jack to pretend to be dead, she wants him to actually die. So the phrase "just play dead" carries a double meaning that reflects the movie's central game of deception. Another detail worth noticing is the repeated idea of who is controlling whom. Jack believes he is several steps ahead because he creates the original fake death scheme. However, Nora secretly develops her own plan and attempts to turn Jack's scheme against him. The trailer, therefore, presents the characters almost like players in a complicated chess match, with every character trying to anticipate another person's next move. There is also an interesting connection between Samuel L. Jackson and Eva Green that viewers may recognize. Just Play Dead reunites the two actors after their previous collaboration in 2016's Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. Their reunion is particularly interesting because they now appear as a married couple whose relationship is dominated by deception and betrayal. Another subtle detail is the contrast between the movie's beautiful tropical environment and its dark subject matter. The film was shot in Gran Canaria, and its promotional material emphasizes bright skies, beaches, luxury, and the ocean. Against that beautiful setting, the story involves murder, insurance fraud, betrayal, and manipulation. That contrast appears to be an intentional part of the film's visual identity. The burning yacht is another image worth paying attention to. The official synopsis specifically describes an explosive yacht showdown, and the promotional poster also features a burning boat. This means the image is not simply random artwork. It connects directly to one of the film's major dramatic set pieces. It may also symbolize how Jack and Nora's carefully controlled plans eventually descend into chaos. Finally, there is an interesting meta-level connection involving director Martin Campbell. Campbell previously directed Eva Green in Casino Royale, while Samuel L. Jackson also worked with Campbell on The Protégé. So Just Play Dead brings together a director and two actors who already have professional connections with him. That makes the project an interesting reunion of established creative relationships rather than a completely new combination of talent. Overall, the most interesting Easter eggs currently available are less about secret cameos or hidden franchise references and more about symbolism, previous collaborations, visual clues, and the double meaning behind the title. As more footage, interviews, and eventually the complete film become available, audiences may discover additional details that were deliberately placed throughout the movie. Just Play Dead is built around several themes that go beyond its crime thriller premise. At the center of the film is a marriage in which trust has essentially disappeared. Jack and Nora are husband and wife. But instead of protecting one another, each secretly develops a plan to deceive and ultimately betray the other. The story therefore turns marriage itself into a battlefield, where intimacy and suspicion exist at the same time. One of the strongest themes is betrayal. Jack initially expects Nora to participate in his fake death scheme, while Nora secretly decides that she would rather make his death permanent and keep the insurance money. Their relationship demonstrates how quickly loyalty can collapse when personal interests become more important than emotional bonds. The film consequently asks an uncomfortable question. Can a relationship survive when neither person genuinely trusts the other? Another major theme is greed. The $30 million insurance payout is more than simply a financial reward. It becomes the force that drives the characters toward increasingly dangerous decisions. Jack sees the money as a way to escape his problems, while Nora sees it as an opportunity to free herself from Jack and secure her own future. The enormous financial incentive transforms the characters' relationship into a competition. The movie also explores deception and performance. Jack has to convince the world that he is dead, while Nora has to appear to be the grieving wife. At the same time, both characters are hiding their real intentions from one another. In that sense, the film suggests that deception is not simply something the characters do, it becomes something they must constantly perform. Even grief, affection, loyalty, and innocence can become tools of manipulation. There is also a strong theme of control. Jack is described as a ruthless criminal mastermind, and Nora is presented as someone who feels suffocated by his control. Her decision to turn his own scheme against him can therefore be interpreted as an attempt to regain power over her own life. Their conflict is consequently not only about money, it is also about who gets to control the future. The concept of death itself carries symbolic importance. Jack wants to pretend to be dead because, paradoxically, being legally dead could give him freedom from the authorities. Nora, however, wants to transform that performance into an actual death. This creates an ironic relationship between appearance and reality. What begins as an act eventually becomes a genuine threat. The title Just Play Dead therefore reflects one of the film's central ideas. When people become too comfortable with deception, they may eventually lose control of the reality they created. The movie also uses money as a symbol of temptation. The $30 million represents freedom, security, and power, but it simultaneously destroys trust and encourages betrayal. The more attractive the reward becomes, the more dangerous the character's choices become. In this sense, the money functions almost like a test. It reveals what people are willing to sacrifice when an enormous opportunity is placed in front of them. Finally, the film's bright tropical setting contrasts with its dark subject matter. The story takes place against an attractive, luxurious environment. Yet beneath that beautiful surface are fraud, manipulation, betrayal, and potential murder. This contrast reinforces one of the movie's broader ideas. Appearances can be extremely deceptive. Something can look peaceful and beautiful on the outside while hiding something deeply dangerous underneath. Overall, the major themes of Just Play Dead revolve around betrayal, greed, deception, control, trust, and the difference between appearance and reality. Its symbolism repeatedly connects back to the same central idea. When everyone is pretending, the hardest thing to determine is who is telling the truth. The characters in Just Play Dead are particularly interesting because the film is built around deception, ambition, manipulation, and conflicting motives. Rather than presenting a simple struggle between a hero and a villain, the story places several morally complicated characters inside the same dangerous situation, making it difficult to determine who can actually be trusted. At the center of the movie is Jack Wolfe, played by Samuel L. Jackson. Jack is presented as a wealthy and highly intelligent criminal mastermind who believes that he can control almost every situation. His decision to fake his own death demonstrates his confidence, creativity, and willingness to manipulate the system for his own benefit. However, Jack's greatest weakness may be his excessive confidence. He assumes that his wife will follow his plan, but he fails to recognize that Nora is capable of developing a strategy of her own. His character therefore represents intelligence combined with overconfidence. Opposite Jack is Nora Wolfe. Played by Eva Green, Nora is arguably one of the most important characters because she refuses to remain a passive participant in Jack's scheme. Instead, she begins developing her own plan to turn his fake death into a real one. Nora is intelligent, calculating, and ambitious, but she is also trapped inside a complicated relationship. Her character represents independence through manipulation. She wants to escape Jack's control, but she chooses deception and potentially deadly methods to achieve that freedom. The relationship between Jack and Nora is what gives the movie much of its psychological tension. They know each other extremely well, yet neither can completely predict the other. They are husband and wife, but they increasingly behave like opponents in a strategic game. Every conversation can contain a hidden motive, and every apparent act of cooperation can potentially be another deception. Their relationship therefore becomes a battle of minds, with each trying to stay one step ahead. Chad, played by Jason Fernández, occupies a very different position. He becomes connected to Nora and is drawn into the dangerous situation surrounding Jack. Unlike Jack and Nora, who appear to understand the rules of deception extremely well, Chad can become vulnerable because he is caught between people with competing agendas. His character demonstrates how an individual can become trapped when entering a conflict without fully understanding the plans of the people around him. Danny, played by Eoin Macken, adds another layer to the ensemble. His presence helps expand the world beyond the central relationship between Jack and Nora. Characters such as Danny are important in a thriller because they can influence the direction of events and potentially become connected to the consequences of the main character's decisions. The supporting characters, including Miguel, Sister Rachel, Vasquez, Mr. Brody, and Martinez, further populate the world of the film. Although the central psychological battle belongs primarily to Jack and Nora, these supporting figures help create the circumstances in which the larger scheme can develop. What makes the characterization of Just Play Dead especially intriguing is that morality is not completely black and white. Jack is clearly involved in criminal activity, but Nora is also prepared to cross serious moral boundaries in pursuit of her own objectives. This creates an environment in which the audience cannot simply choose one character as the obvious hero. Instead, viewers are encouraged to observe their motivations and decide for themselves who is more intelligent, more dangerous, and ultimately more trustworthy. In the end, the characters can be viewed as different expressions of the movie's central themes. Jack represents control and overconfidence. Nora represents ambition and manipulation, while Chad represents vulnerability within a dangerous game. Their conflicting personalities are what transform Just Play Dead from a simple crime story into a psychological battle where the most important question is not merely who will survive, but who will outsmart everyone else. Just Play Dead has the potential for particularly interesting character development because its central characters are placed in circumstances that gradually expose their true personalities, hidden motivations, and weaknesses. The story is not simply about what the characters do. It is also about how their decisions change their relationships and reveal who they really are. The most important character development revolves around Jack Wolfe, played by Samuel L. Jackson. At the beginning, Jack appears to be completely confident in his ability to control events. He is a criminal mastermind who has carefully designed a plan to fake his own death and escape his problems. His confidence makes him appear almost untouchable. However, as the situation becomes more complicated, Jack discovers that his greatest challenge is not necessarily the authorities but the people closest to him. His journey can therefore be understood as a gradual confrontation with the limits of his own intelligence and control. Nora Wolfe, played by Eva Green, has an equally significant development. Initially, she appears to be connected to Jack's plan, but her true intentions gradually become clearer. She does not want to remain under Jack's influence, and she begins transforming from someone apparently involved in his scheme into someone capable of challenging him directly. Her development is therefore closely connected to independence and power. The more she takes control of her own plan, the more dangerous and unpredictable she becomes. The relationship between Jack and Nora is also constantly developing. At first, their marriage appears to provide Jack with an advantage, because he believes he can rely on Nora. But once their hidden agendas begin to emerge, their relationship changes dramatically. Trust gradually gives way to suspicion, and cooperation turns into competition. Their character development is therefore inseparable from their changing relationship with each other. Chad, played by Jason Fernández, experiences a different kind of development. He becomes increasingly involved in a situation that is much more complicated than it initially appears. As the deception surrounding him becomes clearer, he has to deal with the consequences of decisions made by other people. His position allows the audience to see how dangerous it can be to become involved in a plan without fully understanding the motives of everyone involved. The supporting characters also contribute to the development of the story by responding to the increasingly complicated circumstances. Their reactions can reveal information about Jack and Nora while simultaneously increasing the pressure surrounding them. In a thriller such as this, even secondary characters can influence how the central characters evolve because every new complication forces them to adapt. One of the most important aspects of the character development is the way pressure exposes personality. When everything appears to be under control, Jack can behave with confidence and authority. But when his plan begins to collapse, his decisions reveal another side of his personality. Similarly, Nora's actions become increasingly bold as she realizes that she has an opportunity to change her circumstances. Ultimately, the character development in Just Play Dead is driven by betrayal, pressure, ambition, and the struggle for control. Jack moves from apparent control toward uncertainty, while Nora moves from apparent dependence toward greater independence and power. Their transformation is what gives the story its psychological dimension. The central question is therefore not simply what will happen to these characters, but what will they become when their carefully constructed lives begin to fall apart. That is where the real character development of Just Play Dead becomes most Interesting, because Just Play Dead is an upcoming 2026 film. The complete movie is not yet publicly available, so it would be misleading to describe scenes from the finished film as if we had already seen them. However, based on the release trailer and official promotional material, several scenes and sequences stand out as particularly important. One of the most striking sequences is the moment surrounding Jack Wolfe's fake death plan. Jack decides that pretending to be dead can solve his problems and allow him to claim a huge insurance payout. This scene is important because it establishes the central deception on which the entire story is built. Jack believes that he has designed a brilliant escape, but the audience quickly realizes that his plan may contain a much bigger risk than he expects. Another important sequence involves Nora discovering an opportunity to turn Jack's plan against him. Instead of simply accepting Jack's strategy, Nora begins thinking about how she can benefit from his supposed death. This is one of the most significant moments because it changes the entire direction of the conflict. What begins as Jack's carefully controlled operation becomes a competition between husband and wife. The Jack and Nora confrontation scenes are also among the most intriguing parts shown in the promotional material. Their interactions carry tension because the audience knows that both characters have hidden intentions. Even when they appear to be communicating normally, there is an underlying question. Who is manipulating whom? This makes their conversations more important than ordinary dialogue because almost every exchange can contain another layer of deception. The involvement of Chad creates another important sequence. Nora attempts to bring him into her plan, but this places him in an extremely dangerous position. He becomes caught between two people who are both trying to control the situation. These scenes are important because they demonstrate how the consequences of Jack and Nora's decisions begin spreading to other people. One of the biggest visual moments highlighted in the promotional material is the yacht sequence. The official synopsis teases an explosive showdown involving a yacht, while promotional imagery shows the vessel engulfed in flames. This scene appears to represent the point at which the carefully constructed plans begin descending into chaos. The yacht therefore becomes more than just a location. It represents the dramatic escalation of the conflict. Another interesting aspect of the movie's best sequences is the contrast between luxury and danger. The characters operate in beautiful surroundings, but beneath the glamorous surface are murder plots, financial motives, betrayal, and deception. This visual contrast makes the scenes more striking because the environment can look peaceful, while the characters are engaged in an extremely dangerous psychological battle. The strongest scenes, therefore, appear to be those in which information changes the audience's understanding of the situation. A character seems trustworthy when then we discover another motive. A plan appears successful, then another character reveals a counter-plan. Someone appears to be dead, but the entire situation may be part of a larger deception. Ultimately, the most exciting aspect of Just Play Dead is not simply its action sequences. It is the constant uncertainty surrounding the character's intentions. The best scenes are likely to be the moments when one character realizes that another has been several steps ahead all along. And that is exactly what makes the movie's central conflict so intriguing. In a story where everyone is pretending, the most dangerous scene may be the one where someone finally stops pretending. At the moment, there is no reported box office collection for Just Play Dead because the movie has not yet opened theatrically. Box Office Mojo currently lists the film's domestic, international, and worldwide grosses as, with its U.S. theatrical release scheduled for August 28, 2026. The movie is receiving a limited theatrical release through Vertical Entertainment. Because it is not being released as a major wide studio blockbuster, its initial theatrical performance will depend heavily on the number of cinemas showing it and on audience interest during its opening weekend. As for the production budget, no reliable official figure has been publicly disclosed. Major film databases currently list the budget as unknown, so it would be inaccurate to give a specific dollar amount. Allociné, for example, currently leaves the budget field blank. This means that before the film's release, there are two important figures we simply cannot confirm yet: its final production budget and its eventual worldwide box office revenue. Once the movie reaches theaters, the domestic, international, and worldwide figures can be tracked through box office databases. So, for now, the accurate information is Production budget, not publicly disclosed. Domestic box office, no reported earnings yet. International box office, no reported earnings yet. Worldwide box office, no reported earnings yet. U.S. theatrical release, August 28, 2026, limited release. This is actually an important point for the video. We should not present estimated box office figures as actual earnings before the movie has been released. Since Just Play Dead is an upcoming film, a complete performance review cannot honestly be given yet. There are currently no critic reviews on Rotten Tomatoes or Metacritic, so any assessment of the acting at this stage has to be based on the release trailer, promotional footage, and the actors' established screen styles. The biggest attraction is obviously Samuel L. Jackson. As Jack Wolfe, Jackson appears perfectly, suited to the role of a confident and dangerous criminal mastermind. His long experience in crime, action, and thriller films gives him the ability to make Jack feel authoritative without requiring lengthy exposition. In the trailer, his performance appears to rely heavily on controlled confidence, sharp dialogue, and the sense that Jack is constantly calculating his next move. That is particularly important for a character who believes he can manipulate everyone around him. Eva Green as Nora Wolfe appears to be the other major performance to watch. Nora is not simply Jack's wife. She is intelligent, ambitious, and capable of developing a scheme against him. Green's ability to portray mysterious and psychologically complicated characters makes her a strong match for the role. Her performance seems to work particularly well because Nora has to appear convincing while simultaneously hiding her true intentions. The chemistry between Jackson and Green is arguably the most important element of the cast. Their characters are husband and wife, but underneath that relationship is a psychological war. Interestingly, this is their second collaboration after Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children, giving the two performers an existing professional connection. Jason Fernández, playing Chad, has a more vulnerable position within the story. His character becomes caught between Jack and Nora's competing schemes, which means his performance has to communicate uncertainty and increasing danger as the situation becomes more complicated. His role is particularly important because Chad provides a contrast to the calculated behavior of the two central characters. Eoin Macken, who plays Danny, and María Pedraza, who plays Bianca, add further depth to the ensemble. Their roles are smaller than those of Jackson and Green, but they help expand the film beyond the central husband and wife conflict. The official cast listings confirm their involvement, alongside the other supporting performers. Overall, the Samuel L. Jackson-Eva Green pairing appears to be the strongest acting attraction of Just Play Dead. Jackson brings authority and experience, while Green brings mystery and psychological intensity. The real test, however, will come after the full movie is released, when critics and audiences can evaluate whether the performances maintain that tension across the film's entire 1 hour 56-minute runtime. Ending paragraph. And that brings us to the end of our complete look at Just Play Dead. From its intriguing premise and international production to the powerful combination of Samuel L. Jackson and Eva Green, this movie has several elements that make it worth keeping an eye on. What makes the film particularly interesting is its central game of deception, where trust can disappear in an instant, and every character seems to have a hidden agenda. As the release approaches, audiences will finally discover whether this ambitious thriller can live up to the expectations created by its cast, trailer, and unusual storyline. So, if you are interested in crime thrillers filled with suspense, betrayal, psychological games, and unexpected twists, Just Play Dead is certainly a title to watch. Thank you so much for watching. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel, Hollybuzz, for more movie updates, trailers, reviews, behind-the-scenes stories, and the latest Hollywood news. Stay connected with Hollybuzz, and we'll see you in the next video.